house, Uncle Route versus straight to Kakariko, or like dip into Eastern right away for some reason.
I think we will start at Sanctuary and then head to Kakariko.
Well, one person started at Sanctuary, and we
straight away finding the silver arrows in Sanctuary.
Yeah, so any hope of seeing a silverless Ganon in the seed is pretty much squashed.
However, traditionally, and again, this is not all the time, with finding silver arrows early, the bow is often found somewhat late in the game. But with that new version 27 logic, that might not be the case.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Tojso decided to start at Link's house and then go directly to Kakariko while zer0rush is doing the Uncle route. Uncle's just giving him his last big 20 before he passes. And we'll see what's in this other chest here. Just another big 20, so zer0rush has some nice pocket change. Has yet to get those silvers, although it looks like he's grabbing them right now.
Meanwhile, Tojso looks inside the library and sees that it is a heart container, so that is one of the 3 areas that might require boots.
Question in chat: why do runners decide to kill a blue guard early on? And the reason is to set up the tree poles. You need to kill enemies to be able to get prize poles from the trees. One of those trees is right in the castle courtyard, and by killing one of those guards, you can get the first tree pole, which oftentimes could be something very useful, like bombs or magic or red rubies.
That is very true. Meanwhile, we have Tojso actually, zer0rush actually checked the Lumberjack Ledge, and it was just a heart piece. So at the moment, Aghanim 1 is not required.
Yet. There have been some very interesting instances of Aghanim being required late in the game. For instance, if Hammer is inside the pyramid.
Yes, if Hammer is on the pyramid, that will absolutely be an Aghanim 1 required.
So we'll probably be seeing...
Oh, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just saying we're going to be seeing a bit of a high five soon enough, since these Kakariko routes are about to converge. Although zer0rush has to buy bombs because, unfortunately, he did not find any checking Lumberjack and the forest.
But it looks like pretty early on in the seed, aside from the silver arrows, it's been pretty love-friendly.
Yeah, and with lots of small rupee drops, too. So not really anything that's paying off just yet. Get a nice chicken clip on Zero's side. I've personally stopped doing it ever since I soft-locked doing it once.
Tojso finds Bombos in the basement of Blind's hut.
Yep, that is interesting because that with a sword can get access to ice. In addition to the normal medallion requirements. But so far, in terms of direct progression, nothing just yet.
I'm wondering if something good will be hiding in the mini Moldorm cave.
Probably. I mean, with nothing being spotted just yet, there's really only so many places progression can be at this point.
like zer0rush is heading down to the Kakariko well, and they'll get their money shortly.
So finally, the routes have converged a bit, and Tojso is probably going to be hitting up that south shore. You also get a map check. All crystals in the light world, with crystal 5 being at Eastern Palace. Also proving me wrong. Going directly to the uncle and probably into Hyrule Castle proper.
Now, technically, Tojso can complete the front half of Escape. I believe 3 bombs are absolutely necessary to get through.
Sounds about right.
Other than that, neither runner has any usable weapon.
The only thing is, it's kind of hard to hit guards with the bombs. If you have something like the boomerang, it's a lot easier, but just getting a guard to be around the bomb when it explodes, unless you're literally like carrying it up to them while it's going off, it's pretty challenging. But looks like he's going for it.
When zer0rush gets the crisp green rupee.
It is actually 5 bombs, because there's 2 blue guards, which each take 2 bombs apiece, and then 1 green guard downstairs.
Well, technically you don't have to kill... Oh, there's actually... Well, no, you need 2 bombs for this guard. The one that Tojso's at. And then you
one
need...
in the other chest room.
Oh, there is one in the other chest. But zer0rush actually finds the moon pearl.
Yeah, still no way to get to the Dark World at this point. So it... I don't know, like, not even any route to Aghanim yet.
None whatsoever.
One benefit of Moon Pearl at this point in the game, which neither of these players can really do anything about yet because they don't have the money, is you can visit Zora, or specifically the Waterfall Cave, if you fake Flipper into Lake Hylia.
Ooh, but our first sword.
Getting a sword is one of the components that we need for Aghanim. 2 more, either the Master Sword or a lamp, or sorry, the Master Sword or the cape, and a lamp.
Well, lamp isn't required, but I don't know of any runner that can do Aghanim's Tower in the dark.
It's not impossible, but it's not something you see that often, just because the chances you want to go to Aghanim but don't have the lamp are pretty slim.
Meanwhile, zer0rush heads over to the Ice Rod Cave while Tojso is fighting the Ball and Chain Guard.
Now, I'm wondering if Tojso is going to be... Nope. Okay, not setting up a Death Warp, not deciding to go bumble around the dark, getting bit by snakes.
However, those flippers are pretty big.
Yeah, so the flippers, again, give access to the Zora area, which might be what Tojso is doing right now. Oh no, they're buying bombs first.
It looks like zer0rush is headed over to Shrahashrila's hut and possibly Eastern Palace.
Yep. So one downfall of getting flippers this early is if Zora is required and money continues to be tight, because until Tojso gets either the boots or the power glove, they're locked out of Houlihan Room right now.
That is true. But I don't know if you actually saw it. zer0rush missed the bomb in the Sahasrah's hut, and that was their only bomb.
Ouch.
But Tojso actually gets the power gloves from the hobo.
That is good. Tojso's probably checking the back of escape right now and might do Houlihan strats immediately afterward.
I wouldn't put it past them, especially getting those 225 rupees so early.
So Tojso opting not to do Houlihan strats, and instead looking like they're just going to be doing the rest of the South Shore. And zer0rush is going to have a decidedly easier time downstairs in the castle, since they have the fighter sword.
That is absolutely true. A sword is much easier to use than a finite amount of bombs.
And honestly, I might expect zer0rush to set up a death warp here, especially if you have the sword to guide you. But I was proven wrong again.
Now, do you think zer0rush will actually... Well, I guess that answers my question. I was going to say, do you think zer0rush will do the back half of Escape? But it looks like not.
So, Tojso is going to be picking up the fighter sword soon enough, while zer0rush is going to be grabbing the power glove. And some more bombs. You don't often see this bomb shop being used. And I want to point out that both of our runners have used it. Now, I'm wondering if zer0rush is going to bother doing Houlihan strats after getting the glove and then probably checking the back of Escape.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I think it would be beneficial. But at the same time, if either runner is able to find one of those big 300 rupees, I think that would also save them a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, the 300 rupees could be in Waterfall Cave, for all we know. It's just, do you really want to bank on that?
Well, the logic actually does not take into account where money items are placed. If there's a required item at Zora and you don't have 300 rupees or 500 rupees, excuse me, you're farming in Blind's Hut until you have that 500.
Yep, it can be a bit of a troll. Both of these runners have the power glove, so there is a better spot to farm near the desert at, I believe, 50 rupees a pop, but still pretty slow. And zer0rush picking up item number 2 required to access Aghanim, the Master Sword in the Waterfall Cave.
So, for those of you in chatter who are hoping for an Aghanim seed, hold on to that dream, because it still might be around.
Nothing on the Zora ledge, though zer0rush did not have the money to check Zora proper.
Meanwhile, Tojso is hot on zer0rush's heels, picking up their Master Sword. And Tojso realizes that there's bombs on that ledge and nopes right on out of there.
So, round 2 with Sahasrah's hut. We get the flute.
That is very nice to find.
And the boots.
And the boots.
This is now the speed hut. I bet zer0rush is especially angry about that failed bomb.
Oh, yes. I'm sure. And it looks like I think Tojso is gonna go farm rupees.
Interesting. Especially interesting that Houlihan is wide open. Although I don't know if they're gonna. Yeah, they're probably not gonna bother doing it for more than it takes to get to about 275 rupees.
Now, if that is Tojso's plan, that is some very efficient routing.
Yeah, one trip through that room, and the Houlihan, I believe, gives 500 for Tojso.
Ooh, in a
My.
Gina's cave with the goods, the Titan's myths.
So this was. It is shaping up to be a bit of a jet seed. It's just that the items weren't where you might expect them to be.
Absolutely not. And with those Titan's myths being found, there goes our Aghanim 1 dream.
I wouldn't. Actually, if Hammer is inside of the pyramid, it could still be an Aga required seed by the logic.
Well, however, they do have the flippers, so they can swim to the other side or to West Dark World.
Right, but if the hammer is inside the pyramid, and how do you get the bomb to the pyramid?
Oh, that is true.
Now there is a way, a fairly easy way to do it. It's just by the logic, it could happen.
Ooh, we get another map check. Thieves Town is blue. I believe that was Swamp Palace Crystal 6 and Ice Palace, the green pendant, and Turtle Rock, the red pendant.
Yeah. So another kind of wrinkle is that Tojso is now in the Dark World and has a lot of Dark World open to them at this point to explore. While zer0rush found two like things to make the seed faster on the trip to Sahasrah's hut and Eastern Palace. So it's very possible that Tojso finds enough progression to keep him busy for so long that Eastern Palace is like the last thing on his mind.
That is absolutely true.
So zer0rush with these boots and this flute will be able to just literally run circles around Tojso until Tojso decides to actually visit Sahasrah.
We could even say zer0rush is rushing through this seed, but zer0rush rushed to find the hammer and finds it.
So, Jet Seed?
Ooh, I'm hoping for a jet seed now.
And it's interesting now because zer0rush will have no reason to check Agina's cave for quite some time.
That is true. The only thing that are, I guess the only two locations that are locked behind the Titan's myths are Misery Mire and Ice Palace.
Right, and a lot of runners will if you don't need to visit Agina's cave early on, will often put it off until they get to the Mire area. And what item do you need to get to the Mire area?
Meanwhile, we have Nagilium99 subscribing with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much for that. We greatly appreciate it.
So yeah, there are two things. Like, Tojso is going to be slow walking through, Thieves Town, walking through Dark Kakariko, walking towards Hype Cave. but Zero Rush might not get the mitts for quite some time, and those could be crucial in this seed. I mean, they're going to be crucial, obviously, but they might be, like, the key to their next progression.
Yeah, if an item is locked in Ice Palace or Turtle Rock, Zero Rush won't be able to get in there. Or even Misery Mire.
Yeah. Honestly, finding the hammer here for Zero Rush was probably the worst thing that could have happened to him.
Meanwhile, we had a little high five from both runners, actually, at the C-shaped house.
So Zero Rush demonstrating just how much the boots help us in this particular dungeon. There's a lot of long paths that you can just dash right through.
So, Rebel, what do you think each runner will do next?
Tojso technically has access to Ice Palace. They're probably going to be walking their way towards Hype Cave and might even dip into Palace of Darkness and Pyramid and Catfish. But with the progression they have right now, like, that kind of just points to Ice Palace, I think.
I would have to agree with you on that, and it looks like Zero Rush is actually heading out of Thieves Town. I believe all the items were collected there.
Yep. And Zero Rush, I don't even know. With what Zero Rush has, they can do so much. Well, maybe. They can't do Swamp, they can't do Ice. They could go towards Palace of Darkness pretty easily, which probably won't pay out for them.
They cannot enter Desert Palace, Tower of Hera, or complete Skull Woods.
It's just like a lot of overworld at this point, and especially finding that cape. I don't even think Zero Rush has checked that particular location yet.
Let's see what Hype Cave beholds for us today. And unfortunately, not much. It's just a lot of money. But Zero Rush does find our first bottle, which will enable them to go to the Sick Kid and see what item they get in exchange.
So I don't know if I missed it, but did neither of our runners check out Skull Woods yet?
Neither of them has checked Skull Woods.
That's kind of interesting, especially with the meta as it is these days. So yeah, Zero Rush does have Skull Woods, at least like the items. You can't finish Skull Woods yet, but can check a lot of the items.
So it looks like Tojso is actually going to go check Catfish.
Yeah, I definitely think checking Pyramid and Catfish are pretty good moves at this point. And picking up the frog, having the frog, you can't enter any dungeons, so Palace of Darkness was pretty much a no-go.
Zero Rush demonstrating that spin speed. And we have a heart piece, or a heart container, excuse me, on the pyramid.
Catfish just giving us the best boomerang in the game, which is nothing to sneeze at. Zero Rush is making the Palace of Darkness play. interestingly enough.
My guess is zer0rush doesn't need the lamp to get through a majority of the dark parts, or almost all the dark parts. But
Yeah.
without the bow, they won't really be able to complete it.
If the bow is in Palace of Darkness, that could be huge for zer0rush. If not, I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna go next, other than maybe Skullwoods. And Tojso needs to very slowly walk the dwarf back home.
Yes.
Having neither the boots nor the flute at this point.
Quite inconvenient.
And it's especially annoying because Tojso is going to be in this area and will probably end up going towards, well, maybe going towards desert at this point with that book. But it looks like they're probably going to be heading to Skullwoods, going even further away from from where they need to go.
And the bottle kid, or excuse me, the sick kid, giving out his allowance, just 20 rupees.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, that book, despite all the items we found so far, is still the only way to get into Desert Palace. And by the logic, they should, at the very least, be able to get all of the items in Desert except for the boss item.
Ooh, and it looks like Tojso is actually going to go check the pedestal. I'm secretly very excited down below. Or excuse me, down inside.
Okay. Okay. So, nothing but 3 bombs on the pedestal.
So
the
rip
dream
the
is
pedestal
dead.
dream.
So nothing really good in Palace of Darkness so far. And it looks like zer0rush is going to be doing the hammer yump here. Having the big key makes this pretty nice.
And it looks like zer0rush is attempting the Palace of Darkness bomb jump. Now, is this bomb jump like frame and pixel perfect?
You just need to be in the right location, I'm pretty sure. But zer0rush was having trouble getting it aligned. Finding nothing but looks like a big 20 or a big 50 in that first treasure chest. Well, zer0rush is getting trolled a bit here in this dark maze.
Tojso does find the big key, coincidentally right next to the big chest, so it looks like they'll set up a bomb jump and go see what goodies are in there.
Yeah, and unfortunately without the boots, the spacing is pretty tight.
The book or the boots or the hook shot. Now, it has actually been pointed out in chat, there has been 0 sequence breaking in this particular seed. Do you think the runners are intentionally sticking to the logic?
I think there's like an aversion to sequence breaking a bit recently. And I think it's more because, especially with things like the waterfall fairy, and getting there via fake flippers, it's easier to get your sequence broken, and if you're not paying attention, it's easy to go to places where you shouldn't ever even like be able to access looking for items that are in that sequence.
And I also just realized I have made an incorrect statement. Neither of the runner actually has the lamp, so any dark room is actually a sequence break. So there is much sequence break going on here.
Yeah. Well, I thought you meant like they weren't really getting value out of the sequence breaks.
That's what I was initially referring to, but I guess technically they are sequence breaking.
Right. So unfortunately, Palace of Darkness not really paying off for zer0rush. So their options are pretty limited at this point. Visiting the sequence broken, let's make this clear, sequence broken mountain. They can't even get to the east side, so...
They cannot get to the east side, but they, however, can get to Death Mountain.
Yep, and Tojso, or Tojso, is gonna be kind of upset and also kind of happy.
No frustration slashes, though.
But you gotta assume that your opponent has probably been there.
Absolutely.
At this point, I'm surprised Tojso is even entering Eastern Palace. Although, I guess they haven't found the hammer, so nothing they have is like actual progression, except for the flute will get them to the mountain, which unlocks, what, 2 items? Not even 2 items at this point, 1 item.
Just
without
one.
Sequence breaking.
Without the mirror, they are not able to check what is on, or obtain what is on top of Spectacle Rock.
So at this point, zer0rush is probably grasping at straws a bit, even checking the sick kid. I guess they haven't checked Skullwoods yet, so it looks like that's what zer0rush is going to be heading off to do right now. It was probably a calculated gamble. A lot of the times when you gamble, it's like you actively avoid checking a particular area, and you really only ever go back if it's your last possible option.
Yeah. Now, both runners have well over the 500 rupee threshold to check what's at Zora, so I wonder when either of them is going to go back.
That is true. That's one of the stray locations. At least in zer0rush's mind, that's one stray location, along with Agena's Cave.
My guess is zero. Oh, excuse me. What were you going to say?
Just continue.
I was going to say, I don't think zer0rush will actually head over to Agena's Cave until they obtain the book.
That is true, but they can't obtain the book without going to Agena's Cave.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. So it might be a bit of a, I want to say a paradox. Is that correct? The correct word?
Like it's more of a catch-22.
That's the correct word. zer0rush unfortunately misses that bomb jump.
So at this point, Tojso has, I would say, quite a bit of a lead. Like, nobody has any crystals yet. or even pendants, but
I wouldn't say a lead so much as having advantage over zer0rush.
yeah, but Tojso can go. Tojso's going to be getting the hammer in like 30 seconds. They're going to be activating the flutes and probably either going to the mountain or going to Misery Mire, like immediately after that.
You are correct about Toj picking up the hammer. The only thing that will be holding them back, though, from Misery Mire is the medallion requirement, if it's not Bombos.
That is true. With the items they have, they can actually get into Mire if the medallion is Bombos. The mirror could also be inside the Mire shed, which would allow access to Checkerboard Cave. It would allow access to East F Mountain and Tower of Hera. So zer0rush taking a probably a bonk that indicates how they feel at this point. Just hanging in the air, waiting for a bloomerang. So zer0rush is now going, looks like, to pick up the actual factual Titan's mitts. And we'll probably think they're very far behind at this point.
Now, unfortunately, without a fire source, Tojso will not actually be able to complete Desert Palace.
Yeah, I think going to Desert when you have the flute and mitts is kind of a strange choice, especially when there's like at least 2 free items waiting for you in the Mire area, and your next progression could very easily be inside of Mire. And Mire's the only medallion-locked dungeon in this seed that's required, quote-unquote. So knowing that medallion is also good information to have. And that's what zer0rush is doing, just as I say that. And it is.
So that is very convenient for both runners.
At this point, I think zer0rush is going inside. I guess it's his only option, right? Except for Ice Palace.
Yeah, Ice Palace, I think that's about it.
Ice Palace being the green pendant is interesting. By the logic, they technically can't complete it, though with some nice bomb jumps, you definitely can. But now they can complete it since Tojso finds the hook shot inside.
Yeah, that is very big. That also opens up Swamp Palace.
Not just yet. We need a mirror for that.
Yes, the mirror is required.
So yeah, this play into Mire could be very big or slightly disastrous for zer0rush.
I think the only thing that'll make this play worth it for zer0rush is if they find either the mirror, Cane of Samaria, or the Fire Rod. Or even the bow.
Yeah. One thing about entering Mire at this point is the fact that neither of these runners have a fire source. And that locks off 2 chests in the western side of the dungeon.
That it does.
So with the hookshot in hand, Tojso is going directly to East Death Mountain, it looks like. Which I think is a good play. There's a lot of chests to be checked over there, and he doesn't even know whether or not he can get inside Misery Mire at this point. Looks like we see the level 3 sword on top of Spectacle Rock.
Yes, we do.
So hopefully these runners remember that later on once they find the mirror.
However, we shift back to zer0rush's side. They did find the big key, so in the event that they do need to head back into Misery Mire due to it being item locked, they will be able to easily head over to Vitreous.
So, Tojso finding a lot of value in that bow in East Death Mountain.
Yeah, that is very nice. That lets you complete Eastern and Palace of Darkness.
Yep, both of which are crystals. So I would be very surprised if that's not where Tojso goes immediately after this. So we know Pedestal Hype is dead, but let's do some counting here. See how many items we actually need for Go mode. So the Ice Rod is out, but we do need a Fire Rod because Skullwoods is a crystal.
Well, I wouldn't put the Ice Rod out just yet. Trinex might have an item.
Right. I'm just saying, like, direct progression, assuming no trolls like that.
Okay, according to the crystal requirement.
Oh.
So, technically, all we need is Fire Rod, Cane of Samaria, and the mirror.
Yes, that is what we need. Fire Rod, Cane of Samaria, and the mirror. And a lamp, technically, but...
oh, yeah, a lamp.
I doubt either of these runners will be unable to do dark rooms. And there we have one of the trolliest spots in the game for the mirror in the Ether Tablet.
Yeah, not very nice.
That is absolutely massive for Tojso, especially if they decide to do Palace of Darkness immediately after this, because it speeds that dungeon up considerably.
However, Tojso finds the small key in the Tower of Hera basement, which, unless this one more chest doesn't have the big key, the basement will be required, but basement is not required at the moment.
Yep, it could be an item down there, but Tojso's probably hoping beyond hope that there are 2 items of indeterminate quality upstairs.
Oh, I am also hoping with Tojso, because doing the basement is not fun, and even if Tojso actually wanted to do the basement, it would be unable to be done due to the lack of fire source.
Right. So zer0rush finally deciding to enter Desert, where, much to their chagrin, they'll find the hookshot in, like, the last place they look. And also finding the mirror, Tojso is going to be able to grab that Tempered Sword, which is going to make the rest of the game pretty much free.
Oh, absolutely. And it also puts them one step closer to the Golden Sword.
And also finding 2 items inside Tower of Hera means that we won't ever have to come here again. Except when you have to go back upstairs because you got knocked off the ledge by Trolldorm.
Quite unfortunate. Thankfully, it was not in the middle hole, though. Then it would have been a 2-floor climb.